morning and welcome to today's live market profile and order flow trade analysis by Tradeducation. We are at episode 200. Wow, 200 episodes. That's, I think, a benchmark for me, especially for being consistent. And as I shared in my, first 50 videos, that my plan is to create about 1,000 videos. So we are just 20%. I just covered 20% of it, so 80% still more to go. So I hope viewers like you are able to learn based on the experience and my internal learning. If you're able to connect, I'll be happy. If not, then maybe there are some mistakes or I need to change some improvements. But yeah, so happy that we are at episode 200 today. And before I share today's analysis, I'd just like to go through quick disclaimer that trading involves substantial risk and is not suitable for all investors. Also, the information which I'm sharing is for educational purposes only and cannot be used for any trade related activity. Okay, so let me quickly share my screen and let's study the auction, how it developed yesterday, and are there any potential auction development paths for today from intraday perspective. Okay. So first of all, I'm just going through the daily chart, and from the daily chart, what we see is, so yesterday I said that there are stops which are built around the poor highs, and stop hunting happened. So the auction opened around the highs of yesterday. It went higher, tagged the stops. It went lower. There was a gap, so this was the gap. It filled the gap, and then the auction, continued. Closed higher. Okay, so it was more of a like a roller coaster ride yesterday, and I would say I would be fortunate enough or unfortunate enough, but I knew that at this point it is going to get a downfall. I knew at this point now we're going to go up, but I did not trade it. That the reason for doing this, for not trading, even though I was knowing that the auction will now take a U-turn, or now it will go up. It was because I was getting a greed factor in. You always have to understand. So you as a trader, you have to always understand what are the driving forces. If greed is coming in, odds are high that you will be making losses. So that's my personal analysis or ratification which I wanted to share. So I was getting a lot of greed yesterday. So that's why what I did is, after I think 12:30, I just switched off. Basically, I just shut down the Ninja Trader 8, and maybe then I thought look when I'm doing the live market analysis. So to be honest, I did not knew that. So I expected this, but I did not expected some sideways movement. Okay, so that's all what happened. And moreover, what we see is more of an outside day. So we are still in this bigger range. But for the last 2 days, we were sort of in an outside bar. This is more of an outside bar, or basically it hit the stops which were built around the highs. It filled the gap and hit the stops which were built around the low, and the auction just closed within the around the top of the range. So this is the top of the range. This is the low of the range. We still have this gap intact, which is not yet filled. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share from the daily chart. Now I'll tell you how I knew that reversal will happen, and where I knew the reversal from the bottom. So basically a bounce back will happen. So one of the areas is the volume profile chart. Okay, so let me jump to the volume profile chart. So if you see from the volume profile chart, exactly around the gap, so this is where the gap high and this is the balance high. Okay, let me delete it. So let me use the arrow function. So if you see this price action, this was on the 12th of October. Okay, where a strong, if you study the wick, strong rejection is coming in. Okay, so this should give you a hint that there are sellers present, and that confirmation was given by this candle, also by this candle. So mind you, this is a 60-minute chart, an hourly chart. Okay, so on an hourly chart, it gave me a clarity that lack of buying. So basically, because in the AB period, CD period, and E and F period, so basically it took 3 hours to actually try to fill the gap, and then sort of buyers were getting exhausted. So buyers were, they were just getting exhausted, and strong sellers, they were just making up their positions, and that's where sellers came in, and this was a good opportunity to short. Now you should ask, what should be the target? So we are at the top of the balance. Okay, the target should be either the value area high or VPOC, or value area low, or the gap. Okay, so this should be target. Now you would be saying, oh man, you are giving me a lot of targets. So the reason why I shared 4 target is, this is the first target is for the one who want to take less risk. Second, third, and fourth targets are for those who want to take higher risk, higher return. So no risk, no reward. That's the mantra. For intraday trading, I would say, not anything but intraday trading. Okay. So and you see how nicely. So yesterday was 22nd of October, and you see how nicely at a visual reference where the sellers came in. So this is where the sellers came in. Now, mind you, this high is also weaker. So expect this high to be tagged and try to fill the gap. Okay. So sellers came in, and there was this anomaly which was present since last 2 days, which got repaired, and immediately the auction went higher. Surprising thing is this point where reversal happened. You would be surprised where the reversal happened. Okay. That I'll show you from the VSA chart. Okay. So this is the VSA chart, and let me now minimize this. So if you see where the reversal happened around the HVN, where buyers again stepped in. Okay, so there were 2 HVNs, which I marked. So let me also show it in the market profile chart on the left side. Okay, so this is the first HVN, that is this one, and this is the second HVN. Okay, that is this one. Okay, so the auction just tagged it, and then the auction just reversed. So this was a strong HVN from the buyer side, where a lot of buyers were present, because a lot of sideways movement or rotation movement was happening. So basically this zone is the buying zone, and that's where buyers came in, and then they took the entire auction towards the VWAP, and auction closed above VWAP. Okay. Moreover, we also had one more HVN here. So this was a weaker HVN. As it got tagged, the sellers came in again, and a lot of momentum players came in. Okay, so this is what I wanted to share with you guys, how I'm using the combination of market profile to understand the overall context, volume profile to understand on the hourly chart, where the turning points can be, VSA to understand, where are the strong HVNs, so there are also multiple HVNs yesterday also. So there is one HVN here. Okay, this is a very good HVN. There are also this HVN here. We also have one HVN here. Multiple HVNs here. Okay, and I also use a minute chart too. So this I use it as a part of my market internal. So this gives me a minute chart, gives me more clarity in terms of what's happening at the micro level. So on the left is a macro level. So daily chart is a macro level, volume profile is a macro level, market profile is a macro level, VSA and order flow, VSA, order flow, and the 1 minute chart are the micro level charts. Okay, so this is the combination of how I use the market profile analysis. Now coming to yesterday's auction. So let me maximize the chart, and let's look at so now there are again stops which are built again around the highs. So one of the level is the low of yesterday. This gap is filled, so remove this gap. I'll remove all these references, no point in adding it. Okay, so some of the references which I'll be keeping is, I'll also remove this reference. I'll also remove this reference because there are weaker references. So this is a weak reference. We have a halfback. Yeah, this is also a weaker reference. So there are multiple references, which are weaker. So let me remove this reference also. let me remove this reference also. Okay. So now overall, what I see is there are weaker references. Okay, so the auction is started. I did not look at the time, so let me just unsplit this. So the auction is opened around the halfback level, so not a good sign. That is one weaker reference. Second reference is there are no halfbacks around the lows, but moreover, this is more like a sorry. I need a rectangle. Okay, so this is the support zone. Next support is going to be around the value area lows. Currently the current auction which is happening. So let me delete this reference also. Just a second. Yeah. So that was the HVN reference. I'll also remove that HVN reference. Just a second. Let me add the. Where are the other HVNs? Just let me go to the VSA chart. So there is one HVN 11987. Okay, so this is the HVN, and that's exactly at the POC of yesterday. So if you see, this is the POC, and it's also halfback. So odds are high that we will be tagging this particular reference. And you see, I told you that the high is weaker. So now the auction is trying to reach higher. Second HVN is around 11894. This is one. The third HVN is still the same. Okay. So now the overall breakup of the market is pretty easy. So we have tagged this HVN, and now buyers are stepping in with the next target of this HVN. Okay. So if the auction goes below this HVN, it means that buyers who came in here are weaker. Now let me jump to the order flow chart. Now let me delete all this. So some anomalies around the lows, some anomalies around the highs. There are trapped buyers. 6,000 contracts already traded, so pretty heavy volume. So today's volume will be going more than 10,000. So let's see if that happens or not. So the auction is trying to reach and tag. So basically this will act as a level of reversal. Let the auction go higher. So the auction is just tagged the VPOC, seeing some sort of rejection. Yeah, this is the HVN. We have got one more HVN here. Let me jump to the order flow chart. High is weaker, low is okay, secure low. There are some unfinished auctions there, some unfinished auctions above VWAP and below VWAP. So let it all get repaired. 8,000 contracts already traded. We are still 50 seconds to go before the auction closes for the first 5-minute candle. So overall auction opened within yesterday's range. It tried to go down, and the low is also weaker. If you see this is where this is an exactness where sellers also came in. Sellers exhausted and buyers came in. Okay, this level. So the low is weaker. So expect the low to be tagged. High is also weaker because it's some ticks away from the close of yesterday. Okay. So both the low and high are weaker. Right now the main immediate references is the HVM. So it's above it, so it means it's bullish. So I'm expecting it to continue higher and try to see some sort of exhaustion around the highs. So both the low and high are weaker. Currently, I'm not seeing any trade plan for today. So there is some comment from Nitish. Today's expiry also, so maybe side movement. I don't know Nitish, to be honest. So I don't. So to be very frank, I actually don't keep tab on where is the expiry and where is what. I just see the market generated information. Based on that, if I see a trade opportunity, I do it. So there have been days where on expiry day, those days were trending days rather than sideways days. One of the other important point is today is a monthly expiry, so a lot of firecrackers will be seen today. I think yesterday was the day where firecrackers happened. So today, let's see whether we see continuation to those firecrackers or not. Okay, but more or less the confidence is low. Confidence is low both from buyers and sellers. Right now, only intraday players trading money. So the first 5 minutes, about 9,000 contracts traded. The delta is positive. Now 1,300 contracts traded. Okay, the delta is becoming positive. We are getting rejected just around the VWAP of yesterday. So let me show you. So this was the VWAP, and this was all the selling came in by absorption of buying. Now we need to see whether the buyers continue or not. Okay, so let me draw it again. So if you see, all this selling came in, and then buyers came in and absorbed the entire selling pressure, and again sellers came in. Okay, so this is an important reference level, and so the cause and effect. So this was the cause and this is the effect. Now we should see continuation. So those who bought in this zone, we should see continuation from their side. Okay, if we don't see this, then it means that this all was just a fake rally, and we might see continuation to the downside. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share. And now sellers are stepping in. The high is weaker, low is weaker, auction is tagging the VWAP. So strong selling pressure came in. Now we're just tagging the VWAP, so there are momentum sellers. So there are also stacked buyers in this zone. Now we are below the HVN reference. So basically those who bought above this, they will be shit scared. And now the auction is just tagging the open and going higher, open and going higher. Not a good sign. So this reference is invalidated now. So now we are in the support zone. Below that level, sellers are pretty strong coming in. Now so one of the trade opportunities, you can take a short trade, keeping your stop loss above the VWAP target of today's low. That is a quick scalp trade which currently I'm seeing to happen. So I'll just have some breakfast and I'll just wait, observe what happens. So who is buying here? You have to always ask who's buying here. This is a low volume area node. So 4,330 contracts traded. Auction closed below VWAP. So let's see whether we see continuation to the downside or not. So good wick forming, buyers are stepping in. So the trade is still active. So now you should keep the stop loss above VWAP. So I'm just looking at the tempo, how the tempo is coming in. So absorption of supply going on. Wait for some rejection around the VWAP levels. And if your stop loss gets hit, let it get hit. Again, we are just hovering around today's open. Not a good sign. So minute left. Overall 9,000 to 4,000 to 2,000. So I'm looking for a good tempo to the downside. Basically the low to be tagged today. So those of you who are in profit, you can book your profit, get out of the trade. If you don't like this game of waiting and suffering, or if you're feeling a bit claustrophobic. Momentum seller stepping in, and the low is tagged now, so you should be out of the trade. So the first trade of the day is profitable. I think this should be what you should do. No trading anymore. Expiry or no expiry, but the objective is you understood the markets, you went with the flow, and you got rewarded. I'm sorry, I'm eating apples for breakfast and I'm talking, so sorry for that. So the weaker low is getting repaired. Now we need to see some sort of exhaustion from sellers. So who's selling now? So momentum sellers, pretty good selling. Volumes are increasing. One more push to the downside. Looks like a free fall. Okay, so sellers are continuing. Let it continue. Okay. So now I'm expecting some buyers to step in. The low is again still weaker. The low is not secure. It's an unsecured low. So expect some sort of continuation. So some sort of exhaustion is what I'm seeing. So good tempo came in, and now I'm seeing some sort of exhaustion pattern to happen. So 5,000 contracts traded. Let's let the low be tagged, and we can see some sort of reversal around 11,837 or above this reference level. Okay, so we are 30 minutes, and I think with that I would like to end today's session, and observe the references which I have shared, and let's catch up maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow I might skip, but just to do check the YouTube notification. I'm a bit doubtful whether I'll do any session tomorrow or not. But yeah. Okay. So look at the references which I have shared, and trade based on your risk level. Yeah, and risk appetite. So thank you. Happy and safe trading. Bye for now. Yeah. Thank you.